Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Night Guard Gaming review of the upcoming Knights of the Frozen Throne expansion for Hearthstone.
Yay!
I am the Lead Hound,
And I'm Koopa Crusher.
and we are both lovers of Hearthstone. We've been playing Hearthstone for quite a while, and this is the first time we're going to be doing a sort of set preview, review type thing. So we hope that you enjoy it, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
First time I've done a card review at all, to be honest. So
Yeah, me too. So we'll see how it goes and how wrong we end up being. But to make things more interesting, we have some secrets from each other. Yes, Mysterious Challenger has come through here, and he has set up 4 sections for us. So each of us, we have picked 5, well, a total of 20 cards, 5 for each of these sections. There's a section called Cool Cards, which are cards we don't necessarily think are super powerful, but we think they're interesting. They might be fun to play with. You know, they have interesting mechanics, or
just all around fun cards.
Exactly, yeah, just fun cards that look interesting, right? We have meta-defining, which are cards that we think are so good that decks will be based around them, and you'll have to counter them, and you're going to have to be thinking about these cards throughout the entire meta, and it's going to change up the way the game works.
Disclaimer note, all that are ranked 20 or lower, ignore meta-defining.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we're going to be so wrong, I have a feeling. We have the secret OP section, which is where we think cards that may look underpowered are actually quite good. So cards that look, oh, nobody would ever play this. Actually, maybe they would be played in a specific deck, or maybe they are actually much, much better than people give them credit for. And I think that'll be one of the more interesting sections.
That means to play the cards TARDIS 915.
We have our overrated section, which is pretty self-explanatory. Cards that seem incredible or have a lot of hype behind them, but we don't think that they are particularly worth a scuff. And these lists, we created these lists privately. Neither of us have seen each other's lists, so we're going to reveal it as we go along, and that should make things a bit more interesting.
I.e., we made the list about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, this is all last minute, so don't expect this to be right in any way, shape, or form. Hopefully it's just sort of an interesting look, and it's always fun to sort of, try and figure out what the game's going to be like before the set comes out.
I feel like we'll have some accuracies.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. It should.
I would hope.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, so starting off right away, getting into it, we're starting with the Druid cards, and the Druid legendary hero card, the Death Knight Malfurion the Pestilent. This is the first of the new hero cards. They replace your hero, give you a new hero power, have tons of, cool things going on. Malfurion's is a choose one effect. Summon 2 poisonous spiders or 2 scarabs with taunt, and his hero power becomes a choose one effect that is either gain 3 attack or gain 3 armor. And also, it has been confirmed that that works with Thranduil, so his hero power becomes a bonus effect with Thranduil.
Yeah, I love that card.
Yeah, that one's always been fun ever since it came out. Anyways,
I got the gold one.
What, dear Saturn, do you think of Malfurion the Pestilent?
Personally, I think he's an all-right card, but I don't think he's gonna really be involved too much. It's kind of like last expansion in Angora when they made jungle giants, and you wanted it to be you wanted to make a fun deck around it, but it's not gonna be any. I don't think anyone at a decent, respectable rank is gonna play him. As much as I would love to try him out, I just don't think he's worth crafting for me personally, even though he does work with Fandral. It's just not my cup of tea, so I'd probably give him maybe 3 stars out of 10, personally.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with this. This is probably one of the more underwhelming, excuse me, hero cards. For a new mechanic, this one is just so standard in terms of what Druids usually get. I really just not very impressed with it, honestly.
Lame.
Yeah, not much else to say about it. Pretty underwhelming. Doesn't even make any of my lists, so Yeah.
Sorry, Malfurion, you don't make my lists either.
So, maybe it's interesting, but honestly, I kind of doubt it. So, ready to move on to the next one then?
Let's do it, friend.
Okay, so now we have the Druid Legendary minion, which is Hadronox. Hadronox is a 9 mana 3/7 Death Rattle. Summon your taunt minions that died this game. And I am going to go ahead and say that this is on my overrated list.
Huh, interesting. I don't have it on anything here. I just know it's a big spider. I hate spiders.
Okay, then I'll start off with that a bit then, since
Yeah,
I actually have it on the list. So I put this on overrated because, from what I saw, a lot of people were excited about this because it's like, oh, summon taunt minions. That's great for Druid. Druid has a lot of great taunt minions and stuff. Well, half of the problem is, I mean, Druid really doesn't have that many good taunt minions right now. Actually, if you look at it, it really doesn't have that much going for it. Also, the biggest thing about this card is the fact that it's a death rattle. It's not even a battle cry like Zoth. You can silence it. It has 7 health, so it takes so long to kill. It's 9 mana. This is one of the most underwhelming minions legendary minions I've seen for a class in quite a while. I am seriously disappointed with this Druid Legendary. I would never play this card. It seems utterly useless in my opinion, but some people seem excited about it, and I don't really understand why. I guess part of it is they think, oh, I could get 7 taunt minions, because if I kill it, N'Zoth takes up one of the spots. I don't know, honestly. I mean, there could be some, cool, I'm sure there'll be some cool play where someone plays N'Zoth, gets Hadronox, then Hadronox guy dies and they get all their taunt minions, but that's so out of the realm of playability.
I didn't even think of that.
I just think it's awful.
You just gave me an idea.
Okay, why don't you go on then? Alright.
I would actually think about trying it, even though I think its effect, it's okay. I don't like that it's a death rattle. I agree with you there. However, I'd probably be willing to just give it a try if I pull it from the pack, but like I said before, I wouldn't craft it, probably. Although I do like that it's... I don't know, I like that it's late game oriented, and it's just... It can be an okay card, although it might as well just read Summon 2 Ancient of Wars. Pretty much, so... that's what I think about that card. It's alright, I'd probably give it... Honestly, I'd say probably 5 stars out of 10. Decent halfway, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd give it 1 star.
Dang, man. You're savage.
Alright, I think that's about enough for Hadronox. That's enough beating up on Hadronox. So moving down to the rare, we have next...
Wait, what about epics?
I always forget epic. I'm looking at the purple and I think rare for some reason. Okay, excuse me. On to the epics. Let's start things off with Fate Spinner.
Okay, Fate Spinner, let's see here.
Fate Spinner is 5 mana, 5/3. Choose a death rattle secretly. Either deal 3 damage to all minions, or give them +2/+2.
This triggers me because secretly choosing a death rattle, secrets aren't meant for druids. I don't care. Secrets are meant for hunters, paladins, and mages. Ugh.
Okay.
Anyway, this card I think it's alright. I don't think it's too special. I don't have it on my list at all, but I guess you might be able to try and use its give all minions oh shoot, actually includes your enemy minions too. Actually, I didn't think about that. Yeah, okay, never mind. This card's crap. I don't like it.
Yeah, I was pretty much gonna say the same thing. Pretty much, it's a very interesting mechanic. I'll tell you that. This is a really interesting card, but the problem is it's going to be pretty much obvious which effect you're going to be using based on the board. It's not like a death rattle where it's deal damage to minions or deal damage to face. I think that might have actually been interesting if there was some sort of change up or maybe deal damage to all minions or a specific minion. I don't know. I think that this mechanic could have been dealt with a lot better. I don't think this card could ever see play. It's way too expensive. The death rattle is not very good. It gives the buff to your opponent. It damages your own minions. This minion is
I was gonna say
bad.
living mana, but you could use it with living mana, but it just buffs your opponent's guys too. So no. Feels bad, man. Yep. Sorry, Fate Spinner.
Pretty bad card. Okay.
Yep.
Now on to the next epic, which is a spell, Ultimate Infestation. 10 mana, deal 5 damage, draw 5 cards, gain 5 armor, and summon a 5/5 ghoul. Okay, so I put this under meta-defining.
Wow, I actually have this under top 5 secret OP.
Okay, interesting. So,
Yeah.
I'll let you go then, since it's the first time you've put something on the list. So why don't you talk about it first?
The list. Well, it's a floating shopping list. Let's see here. The reason I put it on like top 5 secret OP is because usually when cards cost all your mana, you're gonna want them to be really effective, and this is basically like the magic equivalent of Cruel Ultimatum, except it doesn't hurt your opponent as well. But it's a really nice card, and it deals 5 damage to your opponent, so it could be a good finisher if they just so happen to get 5 health or lower. But it's also good for a drawing engine, which I think more people use it for the drawing engine, if anything. And then you get 5 armor, which is nice to be tanky and stuff. And then you get a body on board, a 5/5 ghoul. And the only reason why I put this on the top 5 secret OP is because it does all of that, but you could also use... You could probably try and run it in Jade decks, because since Jades technically are trying to get to the late game anyway, you could, in theory, use it at the very last game once you shuffle a bunch of Jade idols in your deck. And then you can innervate after you draw the 5 cards. You can draw all your Jade idols and just, basically ramp with that and just go with the flow in late game, just crush your opponent. So that's why I think it's like one of the top 5 secret OP cards, maybe. And so I'd probably give it 7, maybe 6 stars, 6.5 out of 10. We'll go with that.
All right. Well, I'll tell you the main reason why I put Ultimate Infestation under meta defining is because in so many cases, Druid has, in pretty much almost every meta, whenever Druid has been viable at least, they have played oh geez, I can't even remember the name of... What's the name of the card that lets them draw 3 or gain mana crystals?
Nourish.
Pretty much every Druid has played Nourish. And the reason I think Ultimate Infestation is actually better than Nourish is because Druids played Nourish just for the card draw, because late game, they'd be running out of cards, they need to replenish their hand. This not only gives them 5 cards, it also gives them armor, it protects them, they can deal damage to something that's on the board, or use it as a finisher even if they're in a desperate situation, and it gives them a body on the board. Like, this is everything a Druid wants. Like, looking specifically at the Druid class, I think decks for the next standard cycle even will be defined by this card. I think this is a Druid staple in pretty much every Druid deck from now on. I think this could revitalize Jades. It could bring back, crazy control combinations. This card is so insane for Druids, especially with the existence of Jade Idol, just because, Druids can theoretically never run out of cards. This card is ridiculous, in my opinion. Completely meta-defining. Druid is going to revolve around this card as much as I can see. 10-star card for Druid. I am terrified of Druid right now, honestly.
And they also have Innervate too, so that helps them not use all the mana either. So it's a pretty solid card. I think we can both agree on that.
Yes. Either way, maybe it only works in a few decks, but honestly, I think that this will be a Druid staple for years to come.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so I guess we move on to the rares now, it looks like.
Alright, sure. So I'll let you pick. Which rare do you want to start with?
Let's start with Spreading Plague.
Spreading Plague. Excellent choice. Alright.
Yep.
Do you want to read off the effect then?
I suppose so, sure. So Spreading Plague is a rare 5-cost card, and it summons a 1/5 Scarab with Taunt. If your opponent has more minions, cast this again. I don't have this card on any of my lists. I personally don't really see the card as being that great, but the only reason I say that is because people who know me know I'm a heavy control player. I'm generally one of those that has huge minions in my board, and honestly my decks tend to be more greedy than most people's decks, especially when I go control.
We both like the greedy decks.
Yeah, I kind of want Hamlock to come back, so I was kind of hoping for that, so we'll see. But honestly, if Pyro Warrior is still a thing, or aggro decks, then this card will be decent. But if they're not, then I don't see this being too helpful. But what do you think about it?
I pretty much agree. I think this card will probably see play at some point. I don't know if
Yeah.
it'll see play in the upcoming meta, because as far as I can see, the upcoming meta is going to be very, very late game, very control-y from the cards I've seen. But this card will. I
Hopefully.
think that Druids will. This is a very good anti-aggro tool in the future. If
Hmm.
if there's another crazy pirate warrior, or any of that sort of stuff, the way it's been in the past, I think that this will be a pretty effective tool for Druids. Not sure how often they'll use it, but it's just a cool tech card. I really think this is a great card, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not sure how much play it'll see, in the near future at least, but this is one to keep an eye on, I would say.
It's probably a decent card in Arena, honestly.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That being said.
Quite a good card in Arena, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's probably it for Spreading Plague.
Okay.
Let's move on to Strong Shell Scavenger next.
Okay, so Strong Shell Scavenger. We've got a 4-mana minion with 2/3 stats. Battle Cry, give your taunt minions +2/+2, so basically built-in bolster.
Best card ever.
Alright, is it on one of your lists?
No.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? You would have to be a bad player to think this card is good. I'm sorry, this card, I just don't see it being good. There's just, unless they I don't see many taunt minions here, and there's not a whole lot of neutral minions that I would play that are too, I mean, I guess there's Tar Creeper, but honestly, I don't see this card being great. So I just probably give it 2 stars out of 10. I got nothing to say.
Yeah, personally, I have trouble, because I want to say the same thing. I think this card looks awful, but honestly, I can see this card working under certain circumstances, and I never want to discount, because there's been a lot of times when effects in the past have been not very great, but then you attach it to a minion, a body, and then the effect actually becomes really good. Once, think about Ravaging Ghoul. Once Ravaging Ghoul came out, nobody was playing Whirlwind anymore, because Ravaging Ghoul was just insane compared to Whirlwind.
It did the job for them.
Yeah, exactly. And so the problem is, this effect has never been very good. This, give your taunt minions +2/+2. Bolster was never used in Warrior, so it's not quite the same thing, but I have trouble completely counting this card out. I'd give it more of a 4, probably not insane, not great, but also worth keeping an eye on, because it's just, the fact that it has that big effect that can affect a board, and it's attached to a minion. So, not completely worth discounting, in my opinion.
I suppose. I just think it's another worthless bolster.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Bolster. It could be that, honestly.
Sorry, Bolster. No one ever loved you.
Rip Bolster. Okay, I guess that's it then for that one. So next we have Druid of the Swarm, another a Druid minion that will transform itself. 2 mana, 1/2, choose one, transform into a 1/2 with Poisonous, or a 1/5 with Taunt. And I believe both of these are actually spiders, hilariously enough. So this is the first Druid that changes into 2 different kinds of the same animal. Interesting.
Spiders!
Spiders everywhere in this expansion.
Oh no.
Yes.
Great. This card's not on my list personally, but I think it's it kind of works as Spreading Plague for me. It's a cheaper way to deal with aggro. So if Pirate Warrior or Aggro Shaman or any other aggro deck out there is a thing, then you can just turn it into a 1/5 taunt on turn 2, which is pretty good. And honestly, if you're versing a more heavy control-oriented deck, you can make it a 1/2 with Poisonous, which is, it's okay. I just don't think it fits any archetype currently, so I don't think it'll see play, but honestly, I think in Arena this card will be decent, so I don't completely hate on this card. It's just kind of there, in my opinion, so I'll probably give it maybe 4 stars out of 10, something like that. It's like how you felt with Strong Shell Scavenger before.
Honestly, I don't know if I can even add anything to that comment. That's pretty much, it's an interesting card, kind of flexible, doesn't really fit into any deck that I could see, but interesting nonetheless, right? I think that's all there is to it.
Yeah, pretty much. Why not? So now we're on to the commons.
Oh, yay.
Everyone loves commons. Okay, which shall we start with? How about Crypt Lord?
Alright, sure, Crypt Lord.
Oh boy, this is a card that Tardis talked to me about, and he said, I love this card. He's gonna run it. And I just stared at him for a few seconds and said nothing. It is a 3 mana, 1/6 with taunt that reads after you summon a minion, gain +1 health. I mean, sure, it helps against aggro, but quite frankly, it's just 1 damage and the health. It's just too bad in my opinion. There's just so many more powerful cards for the 3 cost slot personally, and I just think it's just easily removed by other classes, and it's just kind of a lap. It's just like a lapping punching bag kind of.
Yeah.
So I don't like the card too much. I probably give it a 3 out of 10. And that might be being too generous.
But yeah, I'd give it a 2 out of 10, honestly. I don't think that this is useful anywhere. Even in a heavy aggro meta,
Yeah.
this is not even useful in that. If this was, gain 1/1, it would be insanely OP, completely broken. If it was gain 1 attack, it would actually be kind of useful. I could see it if it was a 3/1/6 gain 1 attack each turn you summon a minion, sort of a Doomshire or whatever
nice.
that one card is. Yeah, that would be pretty nice. Not OP, but that would be nice. Gain 1 health with just 1 attack, that's pretty much useless. I can't see this card being used anywhere. This might be the worst Druid card, in my opinion, of the expansion.
This card is useless.
Get rid of it.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's kind of negligible. So I guess with that being said, by Crypt Lord, let's move on to Nash.
Okay,
which
cool.
is a 3 mana common. Give your hero +3 attack this turn, gain 3 armor. It's kind of like Bite.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't have this on my list either, but I don't remember reading this card until now. So this is my first time kind of like getting to soak this card in. I don't think it's too bad, honestly. People ran... I don't think it's terrible, personally, but I don't think it's going to be run in many decks, but it could be.
All I really have to say about this one is that Bite has been run in quite a few Druid decks, and this card will probably take the place of Bite, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
It's just a better Bite. I think that 1 more mana for +1 attack and +3 armor, that seems quite good to me, honestly. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I don't know if I said this before, but I'm not really a Druid player. But as far as I can see, the +1 mana cost doesn't really mean that much for Druid. I think that, if you run Bite in your deck, you'll just run Nash instead. This is a decent card. I would give it 5 stars, just 5 stars, decent card across the board.
I agree, probably give it 5 stars. Yeah, honestly, I'm not a Druid player either. It's probably like my 5th played class. But, I mean, it's not my least played class, so I'm okay with Druid. So, I agree with Leadhound here. Let's give it 5 stars. Okay, you want to reveal the last common?
Okay, so the last common we have here is Webweave, a 5 mana spell. Summon 2 1/1 poisonous spiders. People may laugh at me, but I actually have this under secret OP, and I will explain why in a moment. What do you have to say about this, Saturn?
I got nothing, bro. This is just one of those cards that I just was gonna make a joke with Diva's voice and say OP.
Okay, I'll actually explain. So I know a lot of people are going to say, why would you have this under secret OP? And I will tell you why. And the reason is because, honestly, I think one of the things Druids really lack as a class is very good removal. They have, awesome minions, they have survivability, but when they're facing a really big minion, they don't have transform effects, they don't have, very effective ways of just dealing with big minions, and honestly, Webweave, if it's not, the thing is with poison minions, when you see 1 poison minion, it's not a big deal. You throw 1 minion into it and it gets rid of the poison minion. But honestly, I think just changing it to 2 poison minions, summoning 2 poison minions on the board, that forces your opponent to use AoE. They don't have a choice, okay? But when a Druid plays this card, you have to use AoE against their board the next turn, unless you already have a huge board. But this, having 2 poisonous minions, means that if you're neck and neck with a player, I think this would put you above them. So honestly, I think Webweave will actually be really good in a control meta. Not very good in an aggro meta. I'm not saying
Right.
that at all. But I'm saying looking ahead to a meta that's more control based, I honestly think this card will surprise people. That's why I have it in Secret OP. I don't think it'll be in every Druid deck, but honestly, I think it's honestly very good removal that isn't worth completely counting out. I think that just the fact that it summons 2 poisonous minions justifies that enormous cost. So, what do you think?
I'm kind of the opposite of you on that. I mean, sure, you get 2/1/2 spiders, and I mean, yeah, in theory, you could force them to, I suppose, trade their board off that they wouldn't want to otherwise trade or use their AoE. But there's a lot of card generation, I think, in this set that's coming, and just 2/1/2 poisonous spiders just doesn't seem like it'll cut it for me for 5 mana. I'm personally not a big fan of this card. I mean, I don't think it's like the worst card in this like set or just in general, but it's just one of those cards that's just kind of mediocre to me. Like in Arena, it'd be okay, but in Constructed, I'd probably say it was like maybe a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I honestly, I would give this, maybe 6, maybe even bordering on 7 out of 10. I know that seems really generous, but just thinking about Druid as a class, personally, I think it justifies it. But well, we'll see. That's why I have this on Secret OP. I definitely don't think this is meta defining, but I certainly think that this is going to be a big boon to the Druids.
Okay, fair point. And that's all the cards for Druids, so...
So I guess at the end here, do you want to just do a sort of a roundup of the class? What do you think about the cards Druids are getting in general?
Hard to say. I still think Jades are going to kind of be on top, maybe, unless someone finds some other innovative deck to work with. I'm looking at these 10 cards here, and my brain's kind of stumped. I can't really see much of a new deck other than Jade, but I guess only time will tell, so...
Yeah, personally, I think it's really interesting, because a lot of these cards are very interesting, and like I said, Ultimate Infestation is really insane in my opinion, and Webweave could actually be a huge benefit. This is probably the first time I've looked at a class and just scoffed pretty much at both of the legendaries they've gotten in an expansion, but still thought they were actually getting quite a good deal out of the cards they're getting, because, I mean, just with Ultimate Infestation alone, that's almost a legendary quality spell in terms of, how powerful it is. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It's a very mixed bag, honestly. It's very difficult to tell with Druids. They have some of, the worst, they're getting some of the worst cards, in my opinion, this expansion, but also some of the really, really interesting cards as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'd probably be willing to use Hadronox if I pull it in, like, a pack or whatever. I still haven't bought 50 packs yet, but...
Yeah, I think Hadronox might be kind of fun, but...
Yeah. I'll figure out my pack situation when the time comes.
Right, of course. We'll see.
So yeah, that's all for Druid. So I guess the next one we're going to move on to is Hunter, correct?
Yep, that's right. So we'll move on to that.
Yeah, we'll see you guys when we do Hunter.